tell a compelling story where nothing bad happens.
I mean, that might be an issue for you, but hey, this show does not have that problem. We are blessed to have Digital Circus finally be back, as I really miss this show. Shocker given my history with it, but I can change. Kind of like Jax, which is something that I never thought I would be saying, but here we are, and we are learning a whole lot about Jax and Ragatha, having a whole lot of mini adventures where they're just asking like, hey, what do you do before this? And thousands of theory videos cried out in pain as the truth was revealed, and they hurriedly wrote new ones as they were like, oh, more money, which fair. I never know what to expect with this show, I just take it for what it is, and this one was just me getting taken for a ride.
Coach Dictator here!
And I'm happy. Content. Honestly, yeah, it was pretty mostly good. Just damn, it does not hit like that one scene of Gangle. Maybe trying to isekai themselves. But we've already talked about that. Let's talk about this episode and us finally digging into Ragatha's toxic positivity and her apparent jealousy that Jax and Pomni seem to be, well, getting along. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gooseworks has announced which episode is going to be focused on which character, so I was very interested in getting a Ragatha-centric adventure. Now, personally, if I were to view this through the lens of, oh, Ragatha focused, I would say like, oh, I was disappointed. But honestly, I don't fully think this is going to be the end for her character. I feel like this is a setup episode. We are going to be getting some real juicy deets soon, so I think you really have to take this episode in the spirit it was given, which is, and they keep calling it out, slice of life.
Slice of life animes are the worst ones. It's embarrassing.
This is not meant to be a high drama episode similar to the Gangle one, but with Gangle it was like, okay, they're gonna crash out very soon. Well, here it's like, oh, everyone is just chilling. There's no high drama. There's no deep, like, about to abstract moment coming up. So you're just, oh, these are just fun adventures with the characters talking, and it is good. It's really good. I was very entertained throughout this entire thing, and you just got like, okay, slice of life, that is what they're doing. If you see this as more of a setup episode for future events, then oh yeah, perfect. I'm sure the real deep look into Ragatha's toxic positivity is coming up, as we didn't get like a full culmination here, just set up for potential jealousy of the other two. But we'll get into that. First, we do start the episode with them coming off of, well, another one of Kane's genius, terrible, and probably overly written adventures, where everyone is just, okay, fine, we survived that. With Ragatha still trying to be like, positive side of things, everything's good, everything's fine. And like, this thing that I do like about Ragatha as a character, she is trying very hard to stay positive. There's always a brighter side of things, we gotta keep things in control, but it's not in that general, like, manic sense. A lot of times you get characters like this where it is obnoxiously positive. For Ragatha, I do feel like for as much shit as she gets from Jax, it does come off at least as genuine. She is trying. I feel like she genuinely thinks that I need to do this or I will freak the fuck out. And that I do like, as it makes her feel more like a person than a time bomb. But Jax is talking a lot of shit this episode, and this does feel like the beginning of the angel and devil on Pomni's shoulders. These two do seem to be gunning fairly hard to be Pomni's friend. And just to, like, jump ahead, I do feel like that is the reason that Ragatha is a little bit...
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
A little bit out of it at the end, where she's looking worried that Pomni is choosing to spend time with Jax. As I do think for her, that has to suck, as it basically disproves her entire way of being. See, we can ignore some of the hints that, oh, Ragatha and Jax used to be friends before, well, he got too grating for her. But now, at their weird dysfunctional point where,
I, hate you, but I don't want you to hate me. Is that weird?
You're drunk or something.
Very complicated feelings on him. She doesn't fuck with him. She does not enjoy being around him. She sees him as just the worst. So for her to put on this massive act, to try so hard to be kind, to create routine, she's a people pleaser. She is obsessed with everyone liking her, treating everyone nice, as that is just how she handles being trapped in hell. So for her, be doing all of this, the constant hints that, oh, well, just the outright statement that her mom was kind of shitty to her. Well, just imagine if you spent your entire life trying to be nice, and then one of your most recent friends decide like, oh, yeah, you're cool, but I'm gonna go hang out with the guy who's just been a dick non-stop, which would just be a gut punch as it disproves Ragatha's entire...
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
way of being. She wants to be nice. She needs to be nice, and it's not working as well as she'd hoped. And then her spiritual antithesis is somehow getting the attention of the person that Ragatha is putting a lot of investment in and like getting them to like her. So I feel like that is the real reason that Ragatha is sketched out by the two spending time together. The fact that Pomni is smirking and trying to hide that smirk when she sees Jax mauling the other self. It only makes me think, does Ragatha believe that, oh, I'm not fun? Can others not be fun around me? Creating a tug-of-war between Ragatha and Jax for Pomni, and just who has the more effective coping mechanism. And I do love that for as much as the show is like pointing out like, okay, Ragatha, she is putting this on, she is slightly forcing herself into this, it doesn't like disregard the idea of, oh, being positive is bad, proper or valid reaction to the current situation that they're in. As Gangle is starting to come out of their shell, or mask in this case, they're becoming friends with Zubul, they seem to genuinely appreciate Ragatha's apology, and they were bonding during the baseball game. Ragatha's strategy, while not the healthiest for her, it still yields positive results for those around her, which I do think is something that needs to be kept in the equation. You know, Pomni being trapped in like the middle, being the newest person with the least amount of biases, still seems to be taking, well, the Steven Universe position of being the therapist to all these chuckle fucks. She is trying to keep the peace, she's trying to be nice, she's not trying to be super confrontational, but she is like hearing the other people out and learning more about them and helping them figure out their own issues, which I think for those who found this episode slightly unsatisfying or really less satisfying than the last one, I do feel like this is the reason that this episode may not hit as hard, as I don't feel like there's like a full catharsis or culmination moment for any of the characters. We get a bunch of smaller ones, Ragatha with Gangle, Jax like opening up slightly and hanging out with Pomni. These are some small W's, but they don't feel like the giant like, okay, I really fully know this character in their entirety and there's this grand moment of dancing and oh yeah, the isekai. This episode is designed to be very low key, so us like getting that grand gut punch might be why this episode feels lacking in comparison to some of the others. It's not inherently worse, that's just what this episode is going for. Which, to call the spade a spade, it's trying to be a clip show sprinkled in with character moments along the way.
Did I pick a bad time?
It occurred to me while watching this that, man, all these adventures, all these random shenanigans, this feels like how Gooseworks tweets. And I do say that in the most loving way possible, as, yeah.
I'd personally go with blue. Blue's my favorite color, it being closest to black and all.
And that is very much the vibe as we jump from suggestion to suggestion. This is supposed to be the characters' ideas, and it is interesting when you pick apart, okay, what does this say about each of the characters and their desires? And also how Kane is reacting to all of it.
I think they're enjoying the suggestion box adventures more than the me adventures.
Now for Kane, I do enjoy the littler tidbits we get in this episode for him, as he really doesn't like the idea of becoming irrelevant. He sees it as his job to entertain these players, so if he isn't doing that, well, he would...
Whose therapy session is this again?
Well, that. Hence him trying to put his own spin on all these things, and is kind of getting in the way of the players having a good time. Kane, much like Ragatha, is trying way too hard, though I do love his cop-out for why he can't let them just pick their own adventures whenever they want.
You hearing this, Bubble? The Toy Box character wants us to leave the other intelligent AIs to run for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, all these worlds are held together by shoestring and bubblegum. They'll get the job done, but if you were to leave these NPCs there with like that level AI we saw from Gummy Goo, who is shout out in this episode, they would figure that shit out in, well, a day, if not hours, as the slightest bit of self-reflection and just thinking about their backstory would immediately cause them to realize they're in the Matrix. So it makes sense why you can't just leave these things running for all of them, though I will say I can see the BS behind that statement, as instead of just leaving constantly open portals, you can have them that are opened upon request, so they're not technically running at all times, which would fix the problem he claims to be so concerned about. Kind of like how he's always being harassed by his employees.
You should die. You should throw a beach party.
The less we think about that, the better. This episode also gave us everyone's backstories, and honestly, they all fit too well.
Ah, YouTuber.
Zubul seems to have bounced around jobs, having been a tattoo artist and a bartender, with Jax throwing some shade at them for that. Honestly, it feels like he's calling them a gay cliche, but fuck him. Gangle worked in fast food because of course she did, though we get the extra tidbit that her dreams of doing art were kind of squashed after she dropped out of community college. Pomni had the boring but I swear to you financially stable job of being an accountant for a supermarket chain, but on the side, they were a YouTuber, a not successful one, but they're doing it for them exploring abandoned buildings, which feels like the lead-in for how they got trapped in here. As if that office building in episode 1 was a shout out to anything, that might be where she found the headset and got trapped in here. Kinger?
Never better!
Though I do love the tidbit that Jax doesn't seem to know who Queenie is. Bro had no idea who she was talking about, meaning, well, again proves how much he isn't paying attention to those around him, but also implies that he got here after Queenie got abstracted. Speaking of queens, Ragatha in that dress. Also, it turns out she comes from money, had a controlling mother, and, well, doesn't really miss her, and assumes her mom doesn't miss her either, even though she's been trapped for who knows how long. Much like the bar scene in Can I Even Say That? This was my favorite scene of the episode. Just seeing everyone hang out, talk, chat, just like get a little bit more insight into all their characters. I was seated. Some of it we could have guessed, like Gangle's job being, well, her job, and Pomni having an unfulfilling job as, well, she's in her 20s. But each one of these little factoids adds a lot to their character, and it's been a while since we've seen everyone hang out and talk like this. Yeah, they're always around each other, but they're usually doing other things, and every time it's like, okay, let's have the talk and actually learn about each other. That usually happens one-on-one. So us getting the chance to see everyone in the same room just chit-chatting, I always love scenes like this, so I was very happy to see it here. Also, they did an anime.
Hey, we're gonna learn the popular foreign language known as English.
It was funny, quirky, and gave the Jax fans way too much, but I loved it. I've seen all of them in anime form before because people are just too talented, but seeing the official version of this really just drives home how, well, talented the team is behind Glitch Tech, as they pull this off seamlessly, just like all the other cool visuals they do throughout the episode, especially that intermission, which contains probably the most important scene, which is Jax running to his probably dead friend, or abstracted, who I think is a frog.
Do you have any actual friends?
Not anymore.
So this is the real meat of this episode for me. Jax is given depth. I know, I never thought we'd see the day either. At least not this soon. Jax throughout this series has been...
He's an asshole.
Dude has been, well, Flowey from Undertale. If you know, you know. For those who don't, imagine someone going insane from being trapped in a video game for years, and in having absolute control of everything, they kind of go insane and stops valuing human life and only seeing them as a means of entertaining themselves. That has been Jax's vibe this entire time. I know some people have gone through a whole arc of, well, oh my god, he's hot, le gasp. He's actually a bully, but not in a fun way, so we hate it. To now where bro showed an inch of depth and people are gonna be flooding like, oh my god, he's so back, when no, he's still
An asshole.
We do get a lot of hints to why he's like this. The main one being, A, he had a real friend back in the day. Probably this frog person who did abstract, leaving him alone to really just headfirst into this nothing matters, so I'm not gonna care and just be terrible to everyone for my own amusements. This is his coping mechanism. This is how he deals with everything, and it's clearly not healthy, especially as it negatively affects everyone else around him, which I do feel like is the big thing that had me raising my eyebrow during his whole speech about Ragatha. As throughout this episode, he is calling her out for like, oh, this forced positivity. Oh, Pomni, look, she's trying so hard. And I'm just sitting here like, bro, pot meet kettle? Like, holy shit, everything you say about her is even more true about you. He's like saying, oh, she's using people. Dude just used his friends as target practice and to eat. What the fuck are you talking about when you say, oh, she's trying to use others? There's probably some truth to that where she really needs other people to like her because she doesn't like herself.
Do you think Gangle is actually capable of being happy?
Are you?
Bro is a hater. He sees character development and is in shock, as he probably believes changing who you are in any capacity is meaningless as they're trapped in here. You can almost say that he has good intentions and wanting to like break Gangle away from like caring, that way they won't cry or be unhappy anymore. But I feel like that speaks more to his misery than anything else. I don't know if he really thinks he is helping Gangle by bullying her constantly, but I kind of have a small theory. Most of it coming from this one line he says.
If you tell someone they're loved and appreciated every day, it just kind of loses all meaning.
Now, to kind of extrapolate that statement, which I don't believe to be true, I feel like that needs to be said. Though it is kind of true in the, positive character being anything less than positive, and people freak the fuck out over it. But for Jax, if we extrapolate the inverse, does he think then that him being mean all the time somehow makes like him being mean hurt less? Does he really think, oh, yeah, I'm having fun, I'm ribbing these people, I'm annoying them to no end? It's like, oh, I do it all the time, so it hurts less, it's worthless. I do wonder what his thought process is there, or if he is just unself-aware, which would be very accurate.
What are you talking about? Yes, I do. What the? Where's my tail?
And why he was picking on Gangle so much is that it almost feels like he's trying to turn Gangle into himself. He wants her to be more cruel, to like not care about the digital circus, to be a bit of a bully, and to be mean to the others. As he thinks that's what works best, ignoring how she is improving by being positive and talking to the others while he is alone and miserable. So him trying to sing out Gangle, be like, hey, just stop caring, be like me. And he doesn't really know how to just say that, as he would never let himself be that vulnerable. I feel like it makes sense for why he would initially pick Gangle for this, as before Pomni showed up, the others, they would never give him the satisfaction, and their character is too strong to be changed just like that. Kinger is crazy, so that was never gonna work, leaving Gangle to be like his one true option to kind of mold as he may have wanted, to find the friend that he clearly lost. But that hasn't worked. Gangle is moving closer to Zubul and Ragatha, but Pomni seems to be moving closer to him. And I do wonder if this one look from Pomni is her realizing like, oh yeah, we all need to be a jerk sometimes too. And her thinking, wow, I wonder what's wrong with him that he needs to be a jerk all the time. There might be a bit of a conflict brewing between Ragatha, Jax, and Pomni. Ragatha realizing that, oh, everything she did was for nothing, and abstracting as a result, or we might be getting like a real look into why Jax is how he is. And I am ready for all of it. This was a very good, if low-key episode. The shenanigans were wild, the evil team was extremely funny.
God damn it!
Though the idea that Kane can create copies of the players has some serious nightmare fuel implications, kind of like how this episode just keeps leaning even more strongly into the idea that Jax is an NPC. This is something that's been hinted at for a while. The code on his bumper plate is a symbol for file 1, which would only make sense if he was a computer program. Him not realizing he doesn't have a tail is another worrying thing. But the biggest one? The fact that Kane can control him, and doing so in a way that he hasn't done for any of the others. We've never seen Kane be able to restrict or control someone to not be able to do something that they want. Yeah, he can fix them, like restore them after they're partially abstracted, but that does seem to be the limit. But now Jax's being seems slightly more malleable than the rest, so if anyone's gonna be an NPC, it's probably him. Something to think about. It's kind of like how Jax may enjoy humiliating the others for his own amusement. He, though, can't take it when the punchline is at his expense.
What the heck? Who did this? You!
Yeah, he really had this coming. Like, for real, he had all of this coming. And not the way some of you sick freaks are thinking. Wait, I did forget to talk about the ominous puppet. TLDR, I have no idea what this thing's deal is. We do know that some of the rooms are marked with the puppets, but that always felt like a placeholder thing, not, oh, one of these people is secretly a player. However, this thing did pop up in the intro, so this could be anything. Though I think the funniest thing they can do here is to just never bring it up again. Also, quick shout out, I have a sleep channel going that I am finally posting more things on. Just dropped a 5-hour compilation of all my Invincible videos, so if you need background noise for any reason, go check that out. You have no idea how long this video took to process. But also while you're here, like, share, and subscribe, tell me what you all thought of the episode, and let me know what other parts of Digital Circus you want me to talk about. Though if I were to give my own recommendations, go check out K-Pop Demon Hunters. This shit slaps so fucking hard.